Greetings, lover of monotonous narration of Wikipedia articles accompanied by slowly moving images. Today I will tell you about zombies. What advantages and disadvantages do they have? What types of zombies are there? What they would be like if they existed in real life, and what zombies already exist in our lives. Let's start with what we know about zombies. Zombies are a classic character of modern culture. Armies of the living dead appear in horror films, comedies, and video games. We know that a zombie bite leads to infection, and that the only way to destroy a monster is to separate its head from its body. But where did the image of The Walking Dead come from? We'll look into the tangled roots from which the familiar image grew. The word zombie itself, according to scientists, originated from the African continent. Similar or homophonous words exist in languages of Congo and other countries in West and Central Africa, meaning Zambi, the creator deity. Although outside of African cultures, similar images of walking dead, feeding on human flesh, have long existed. People in all cultures were afraid of restless dead. But why? Because a fearless army of the dead is a strong and unstoppable weapon. But is it really true? Let's figure it out. Before we assess the danger of zombies, we need to determine their possible nature. I must say right away that the familiar zombies in the form of living corpses are impossible. Any organism needs regular energy consumption to function. Dead organisms do not need it, but they also do not move, so zombies must be alive to move. Therefore, they need to eat and drink. If a person can survive without food for 40 days, then without water only 3 days, so zombies too. Just like I can't live without your subscription and like under this video. In most works of fiction, zombies are guided by instincts and do not possess the logical and abstract thinking typical of humans, so most of them will perish from dehydration a few days after being infected if they cannot find sustenance. Furthermore, a human without their brains is completely useless. Without human cunning and cleverness, as well as without additional hunting tools, people will not be able to procure sustenance in the quantity needed to feed a huge army. So, without the knowledge accumulated during conscious human life, the population of zombies will rapidly decrease. But in the very first days of a zombie outbreak, they really should be running in hordes through the cities like in games and movies. And is it possible to defeat them during this period? I think it is possible, but these will truly be the most dangerous days for people. Firstly, there will be a lot of zombies, and secondly, zombies may not differ in any way from ordinary people in appearance, except for their behavior, and that's where any number of assumptions can come into play. If a virus or parasitic organism significantly alters a person's appearance, it will be easier for uninfected individuals, including military personnel, to identify zombies and contain the threat. However, if the infected individuals are indistinguishable from healthy people and the transformation into zombies takes only minutes, the number of victims will be much higher. As we have determined that zombies cannot be dead according to the laws of nature, without significant biological changes at the organism level, they will not be able to live and run mindlessly in hordes through cities and forests for many years, and even more so in the desert and snowy regions of our planet. So after a few days, it will be relatively safe there. Therefore, the surviving people, having taken respiratory protection with them, will be able to venture into these areas. However, on the way, they will still encounter zombies, and they must find a way to deal with them. But how dangerous will zombies be in close combat for humans? To assess their hypothetical danger, we need to determine the most realistic types of zombies to understand what they might be capable of. I have identified 2 possible types of zombies, viral and parasitic. By viral, I mean zombies that have emerged as a result of a virus, and by parasitic, those that have emerged from a living parasitic organism that has taken over the human body. Hypothetically, both origins of zombies are possible, but in both cases, these infections must be man-made. Speaking of viral origins, in our world, there is one virus that resembles a zombie virus, and that is the rabies virus. The rabies virus is also transmitted only through saliva. Infected individuals must still remain conscious to preserve their ability to procure food, as a distinguishing feature of a rabid individual, like a zombie, is the complete loss of consciousness. However, without treatment, a victim of the rabies virus will not survive long. In the case of dogs, rabies begins with unusual, restless behavior of the animal. They refuse food and eat non-edible objects. The dog's bark becomes hoarse and howling. The animal does not drink water. Swallowing becomes difficult. The mouth secretes abundant saliva. Excitement rapidly sets in. The animal paces, attempts to bite other animals and humans. Paralysis develops, leading to the animal's death. If the period of excitement does not occur, the animal dies much faster, known as quiet rabies. Therefore, zombies should disappear after a couple of weeks. In games and movies, we often see a crowd of zombies with varying degrees of aggression moving towards uninfected people. Zombies do not attack each other because they know who is one of their own and who is an outsider, and such behavior is too complex or impossible for a virus. The rabies virus indeed changes the behavior of living beings. However, a rabid animal attacks everyone without targeting based on infection status. Most likely, if the main goal of the zombie virus is to spread in every possible way, including through bites, then zombies will behave like rabid animals and attack everyone around, including their own kind. However, if you are unlucky enough to encounter an infected zombie who wants to attack you, defeating such a human individual should be very difficult. Such a zombie will ignore the pain-danger factor and behave aggressively to the extent allowed by its natural potential. If any of you have ever seen mentally unstable people or a neighbor who drank too much on a Friday, you know that they suddenly become very strong during their outbursts. Even a frail old man who struggled to lift a 5-kilogram bag in a normal state of mind becomes very strong in a state of mental excitement. The zombie virus should have the same effect. In this case, it's best not to let such a subject get close to you. It won't be easy to quickly destroy them unless you decapitate them or blast their head into pieces with a shotgun. Otherwise, you are likely to be harmed yourself. That is, you will be caught or bitten even when attacked by a single zombie. In a battle against zombies, I would trust in a suit of armor, which will greatly minimize the chance of being scratched or bitten. A suit of armor combined with close or long-range weapons is the safest option. For close combat against zombies, I would recommend a broad-bladed axe with a not too long handle, a single-edged chopping sword of up to 80 centimeters in length, or a chainsaw. As for long-range weapons, anything will do. Now, regarding parasitic zombies, this is the most complex, contradictory, and simultaneously deadly variation of zombies. When a parasitic organism such as a worm or fungal spores enters the human brain, it must develop there and gradually take control of the life processes of the human body, including taking control of the central nervous system of its host. However, there are some problems with parasitic zombies in reality. Firstly, the human brain and nervous system are inherently complex, making it extremely difficult for a parasite to take over. Secondly, it makes no sense for a parasite to act as an aggressive zombie. All parasites exist either by the path of least resistance or by the path of greatest benefit for themselves. For example, there is a fungus that parasitizes insects such as butterflies, spiders, and so on. This parasitic organism enters the insect's body and begins to use it as a source of nutrients, consuming and growing on the insect while it is still alive. When the insect dies and the fungus matures, it simply releases spores into the air to infect other insects. This is the life cycle of the cordyceps fungus, which can be considered the path of least resistance. The fungus immediately settles on the insect and grows until it completely consumes it. Another example of a parasite is when it acts for its own benefit by using an intermediate host to enter the final host's body. For instance, Toxoplasma is a parasite that uses mice to enter a cat's body. Toxoplasma enters the mouse's body and begins to alter its behavior, manipulating the rodent by dulling its natural aversion to the smell of cat urine, allowing the parasite to affect the area of the central nervous system responsible for fear, causing the mice to approach the cat's urine and hang around until they are eaten by cats. The parasite then changes a small mouse into a large cat, which is beneficial for it. Now let's return to the parasitic zombie. What is the logic behind its behavior? Let's say it parasitizes humans to kill other humans. What benefit does it gain from this? These are potential carriers for its offspring. On the contrary, it is advantageous for such a parasite to be inside a collective of human beings and multiply its population. This is the law of any life. Therefore, I again come back to the fact that for parasitic zombies in the variations seen in games and movies, they must be entirely man-made. It should be an artificial product of someone's evil will, who has decided to destroy humanity in a very twisted way. The creator of this parasite must hate humanity to the maximum and desire its suffering, or they could simply be a player in the League of Legends. Simply put, if the goal of this infection were to impartially reduce the population, a virus would achieve it more efficiently and quickly. Therefore, I think that we should not be afraid of hordes of zombies walking the streets. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. After all, this is how you help me make even more interesting videos for a slowly moving picture. Goodbye.